Everyone. I'm just going to show you some things on Reading A to Z real quick since we all have it now. It's a great resource for you to use daily in your reading instruction. When you come to the Reading A to Z website, this is what it looks like at first. This resources tab has everything you'll need to use Reading A to Z. There's books, there's leveled books, and then they kind of go through by genre, decodable, high frequency, shared reading. That's great for the primary kids. Another thing that's really nice over here is the content area, but also the literature circles, which I know a lot of teachers in the upper grades do. These are kind of nice because they have the book, and they start at G and go through Z2, and they have the book, but then they also have the literature circle jobs that the kids will be doing. So there's that. Just kind of also the teacher kind of leads you through what you're supposed to be doing. So that's sort of nice. There's also, when you go back up to resources, in the key reading skills, there's graphic organizers, tons of graphic organizers. There's reading ones, there's vocabulary ones. It's kind of nice to switch them up every now and then. Some pretty ones. Just keep your kids guessing. There's writer's responses. I like those. There's word sorts. These I used a lot in my classroom because it's easier than thinking of your own. So you can filter them, whatever you're working on, or you can just go through. They have digraphs, letter sounds, blends. Let's see. Another nice thing in the key reading skills are these comprehension skill packs. And they're only from first grade to fifth grade. But of course, if you teach kindergarten and your kids are reading higher, these will work great. And what they have is the skill they're working on. So characters, author's purpose, cause and effect, classifying, comparing and contrast. So those are kind of nice because they're already there. You don't have to hunt through like Teachers Pay Teachers to find them. The foundational skills for kindergarten, especially these, or even in the RTI process, if your students are still learning letter sounds, they have a chant for each letter, which is kind of nice, something fun for them to do. And then also in the foundational skills, is these fluency passages in Reader's Theater. Reader's Theater is great. And these fluency passages are nice to do for running records, or if you're just practicing fluency. If you have a group, in Power Up that needs fluency work, these are great things for them to do. And of course, you can see down here, you can keep track. The students could set a goal. Let's see, and then 21st Century and Common Core. What I like in here are these project-based learning packs, which is something we could all be using because we're all going to do PBAs this year, or PBLs. And if you don't want to have to hunt through and search for them elsewhere or create your own, there's some that are already here. And they come with all of the resources you would need. So they have the lesson plan, there's a driving question project, and then the rubric. And then up here you can see, here's each individual thing you would need. And they have several. So they start in second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. First grade could probably use some of these from second grade. There's the anchor text, which you can always, you can edit out what you want to use or not use based on your students. And then this assessment tab, that's where you'll find everything you need to use for an assessment. So the benchmark passages and books, these are what we use for the running records and for our full assessment at the end of the 9 weeks. And then there's phonological awareness, high frequency words, timed reading. Those are kind of nice for kids who are working on fluency. And then at the bottom, there's ELL books and vocabulary, which will be good if you have ELL kids in your class, or Emily Clayton, if you are watching this. other world languages. I don't know. We might have some of those. There's also in this, I like these, these close reading passages are good. Close reading is an important skill. So they have them in Spanish. We do a lot of those in English, but there they are in Spanish. And then instructional uses. This is a great little spot to sort of find everything, but under broader categories. So if you want word work, if you're coming in, you want word work, you can go straight down to instructional uses, go to word work, fluency, writing, RTI, special ed, games, lots of games in here, which would be good to print out and send home at conference time with any of your kids who are struggling with a certain skill. For example, parts of speech, you could print out one of these, send them home, or you could print these out and have them as independent centers in your reading block. The last thing I want to point out, two things. Over here, you have your file cabinet. And what you can do as you are searching through books is you can add them to a file cabinet so you have easier access to them later. And how you do that is you'll come into, for example, leveled books. Say I know I want to use big later on. I want to remember that I want to use that. So what I'm going to do is add it to my file cabinet. And you can do it in an existing folder that you already have, or you can add a new folder. That's kind of fun. Then you remember, you can come back in, go to your file cabinet, and remember what you wanted to use. The last thing I was going to show you is Teacher Corner, which is sort of like going down to the instructional uses. The Teacher Corner just sort of has everything but condensed, which is kind of nice. So then you can look at books by skills instead of having to kind of hunt through them. Another thing is they have these webinars, and there's a recorded one on there now that you can go to and you can watch. I'm not going to show you that, but they do update those pretty frequently. And if it's an hour, you could probably transfer that into Thrive. Ask Brenda about that to get some points. But anyways, you can just see there's lots of different ways you can use this website. There's a lot on here, but many of these things are actually just repeated under these tabs. So it looks like a lot more than it is, but I encourage you just go in, kind of play around with it, see what you have. And if you're in kindergarten through third grade, you guys also have RAS Kids to use. So make sure you go into those, start setting up your classrooms and using that, because that's a great resource also. Okay, if you have any questions, you are always welcome to come and find me.